What's up YouTube, Del here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you a very spicy and slightly budget profile from Rage of the Abyss, and that is of course MetalMorphs. So, MetalMorphs is its own type of deck. Yes, there are older copies and older versions of this card, and it seems that we're getting a lot of new retrains. They've already revealed 2 brand new cards in Supreme Darkness, which is the next core set to come out. And basically what it provides us with is metallized forms of some classic cards, like of course Red Eyes Black Dragon. We know that the new card is going to be Flame Swordsman, and then there's loads of other cards in here that kind of pay homage to the Bandit Keith deck. There we go, get there eventually. So what I've done with this build is I've put a build together for you to see as a structure. I'm then going to talk you through some different engines that you can actually add to the deck that will allow you to utilize it a little bit more. And don't worry, this is pure. It doesn't involve any bestials. It doesn't involve any Dragon Link strategies. The whole idea behind this is to be able to utilize your MetalMorph monsters to be your boss monsters that you want them to be, and then ideally push you into an OTK, give you setups like mini tower boss monsters and everything else in between. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. With all of that out of the way, I'm going to dive headfirst into this profile, show you what we've got, and explain why we've got it. So starting off with probably the most splashable monster in all the other decks as well, is triple Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. So it cannot be normal summon in this set, and it must be special summoned with max MetalMorph that was activated by tributing a level 5 or higher dragon monster. You can reveal this card in the hand to set a MetalMorph trap from the deck, and if you do, you shuffle this card into the deck. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you get to negate the activation, and then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of one attack position monster your opponent controls. You can only use each effect once per turn, so obviously the idea is that you get a 3400 boss monster on the board that then provides you with a nice little bit of a negate and a burn if they have a monster on the board. It's actually being utilised in Vanquished Soul, so shout out to Marvin on that one. He was going to utilise this in Vanquished Soul because you can tribute off your Caesar Valius, and I thought that was really kind of cool to set yourself up with a nice little Omni game. And then the main starter of the deck, we're playing Triple Metal Illusionist. So this one is a spellcaster. You increase this card's level by 4 during your opponent's turn only. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If it is normal or special, you get to set a MetalMorph trap from the deck. And then if a max MetalMorph is in your graveyard, you get to draw 1 card. You can declare one other monster type. This card becomes that type until the end of your opponent's turn. So obviously the idea is you declare Dragon if you want to get your Red Eyes Black Full Metal, or you'll declare Fiend if you want to get your Metal Zoa X out. So Metal Zoa X, we play 2 of this, can't be normal summon a set, and it must be special summoned with max MetalMorph that was activated by tributing a level 5 or higher Fiend. You can reveal this card in the hand to set a MetalMorph trap from the deck, and if you do, shuffle this card into the deck. You can only use this effect once per turn. And then twice per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect or spell card or its effect, quick effect, target a face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So obviously you've got the negate off of the back of the Red Eyes Full Metal, and then you've got the pop off the back of the Metal Zoa. The fact of the matter is you can use the Metal Zoa twice, and it also is a bit of an annoying boss monster to deal with, because when you got it combined with the MetalMorphs that are equipped to either the Metal Zoa or of course being equipped to a Red Eyes Black Full Metal, provides them with nice targeted protection, which is why they become mini towers. We're then playing Triple Zoa the Fiendish Beast. So if your opponent controls a monster, you can normal summon this card without tribute. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is in the hand, you get to special summon this card in defense. Then if max MetalMorph is not in your graveyard, your opponent can special summon a monster from their hand. During your main phase, you get to set a MetalMorph trap from the deck. Now, obviously the biggest downside is giving your opponent that free special summon if you do have to go first, which is a bit of a disadvantage, but it does kind of make me want to consider playing Foolish Bearer of Goods to put a max MetalMorph into the graveyard. And then of course my Zoa will be able to summon itself for free and not need to worry about giving my opponent some advantage, and the Illusionist will also then have the ability to draw me 1 additional card. So there's, you know, pros and cons to both sides of it. And then what is probably the honorary MetalMorph monsters. So we're playing Triple Moon Fang Dragon. Now the reason that you play this card is during the end phase, if this card is in the hand or graveyard, you get to special summon it, but you place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You get to discard 1 card, add 1 level 7 Dark Dragon monster from the deck to the hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So obviously the idea is that you get to discard 1 card, put this card into the graveyard, and then it can search out another copy of itself. So that's where the best benefit comes in behind this. But the idea is if you can get this to the graveyard, you're just going to get a free level 7 or higher dragon onto the board, and then that's just your free tribute fodder that you're going to need. So it acts as another form of a starter alongside your Metal Illusionist, and of course alongside your Zoa the Fiendish Beast, but it's something you might want to consider. Now, as you've seen, we do play a lot of Dark, so one of your draw cards will of course be a Law of Darkness in this deck. It really is up to you on where you kind of want to play and how you want to play it. We're then playing 2 Black Metal Dragon. Now don't worry, this is not for Dragon Link plays, this is literally Black Metal Dragon. Summon it onto the board, link it off, this will then get you direct access to your Red Eyes Full Metal, and then of course you can reveal the Red Eyes Full Metal to get you to your MetalMorph. It's a bit of a long-winded way around it, and you can play the other Red Eyes monster if you want to, the one that lets you banish a dragon from the graveyard, summon itself down and go off, but I feel that that leans more towards the Dragon Link-esque plays, but if you do want to go down that route, you can of course add in stuff like Bestials as well. Now the last card that is not a MetalMorph-ish card, but it does help you, and the reason that we're playing this is this gives you the ability to activate your MetalMorphs turn 0, which is really important. So I'm playing 3 Arias the Labyrinth Butler. Now, it's a little bit cheaper now that it's been reprinted in the Megatins, and you can also play Temple of the Kings, which is a continuous spell card that lets you activate a trap card that's been set that turn. But the idea behind the Arias is you get to discard this card to then set a normal trap from the hand. So you've got a lot of cards that let you get to max MetalMorph. And the best thing about that, some of these do set, so obviously these set the MetalMorphs, but the idea is that this will allow you to set a normal trap card from the hand, and the set normal trap can be activated that turn. So if you hard open up one of your MetalMorph cards, ideally your max MetalMorph, you can discard the Arias, which lets you activate it that turn, which means turn 0, you can activate your max MetalMorph, tribute off a Dark Dragon. So keep in mind, if this is in your graveyard, it comes back during the end phase, you can then activate that max MetalMorph during your end phase, and then this will let you get into your Red Eyes Black Full Metal, which I thought was kind of like a very interesting interaction. Again, the benefit of playing this over the Temple of the Kings is it's also a dark, so it fits within that Allure target should you need to. For the MetalMorph spells, we are playing triple Incoming Machine. So add a monster that mentions max MetalMorph or MetalMorph trap from the deck or graveyard to the hand. And if you control a MetalMorph trap, you get to banish this card from the graveyard to then target a defense position monster your opponent controls and change it to face out a tap position. I mean, that secondary effect's a little bit meh, but the idea is it puts a monster in a tap mode and you're just going to be able to punch over it with your big boss monsters. But ideally what you're doing with this one is just being able to add either a Red Eyes or add the Metal Zoa, and then you get to use the Metal Zoa to then get you the MetalMorph trap. So again, it's just another long-winded way to get you to the MetalMorph trap, but it is so important of a card within the deck that's why you're going to want to max out on it, and it's why you're trying to get to it as early as you can. So then, of course, we are playing triple max MetalMorph. So you tribute a face-up monster to special on one monster that cannot be normal summoned or set and mentions max MetalMorph from the hand, deck, or graveyard. Then you can equip this card to it with the following effect. The equipped monster gains 400 attack and defense. It cannot be destroyed by spell or monster effects, and also your opponent cannot target it with monster effects or spell effects. So the best thing about that is you then turn Red Eyes into a 3800 boss monster, and you also get to turn your Metal Zoa into a 3400 boss monster as well that gets to pop twice per turn. So this card's like really, really good. It's just a shame that it's a trap card, but then it fits within the lore of the deck and how it works with Bandit Keith and everything else in between. The other one we are playing is triple Time Engine. So this one is always treated as a MetalMorph card, which is why it's very easily settable, searchable, and everything else in betweenable. So if it's in the graveyard, to get even more benefits. If a monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you get to target one of those monsters, special summon it, and then if you special summon a level 5 or higher machine monster by this effect and have MetalMorph trap on your field or in your graveyard, except this card on the field, you get to apply the effect to destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and then inflict damage to your opponent equal to that special summon monster's original attack. So the idea is you can crash in one of your MetalMorph monsters, ditch it to the graveyard, this then brings it back, and then off you go. For your draw cards, you've got triple Allure of Darkness. We've got 2 Pot of Extravagance. Now, this is one of the cards that I would highly consider switching out. Now, when you're switching this out, the engines that I'm considering putting in is Super Poly, because your extra deck is so flexible. Ultimate Slayer, but that's morely ideal for the side deck or going second, which you'll see in the extra deck when we get to it. And the last one that I quite like the idea is the Nadir Servant package, because Nadir Servant can lead you into the window lock. So when you window lock your opponent, and then you get to go, cool, max MetalMorph, tribute off one of my monsters, and then bring out a boss monster in the form of the Red Eyes or the Metal Zoa, you're kind of really putting your opponent down a notch, because that's your first special summon under the window lock. And then your opponent is still stuck under the window lock, and they've got to deal with either a negate off the back of the Red Eyes, or they've got to deal with a double pop off the back of the Metal Zoa. So it gives you a boss monster that then goes back to your turn. You go, cool, attack, and then you get to pass, and then you're still sitting on that. And then if you set up another max MetalMorph, you can then end up getting both of them on the board, and you're basically putting a ticking clock on your opponent if they can't out the window. The last one obviously plays one Call by the Grave and the 1/1-for-1. Obviously this can get you to your black metal, and it can also get you into your Illusionage, which is your ideal one to be going for. And then for the hand traps, we've just got 6 on this one, so triple Ash Blossom and triple Imperm. Of course, I'm not saying this is the best version of this deck. This is just like an ideal pure version of the deck. I feel the best version of this deck is, of course, like the Bestial Dragon Link-esque thing, but that's not really, in my opinion, a MetalMorph deck. That's a Dragon Link deck that is utilising the Red Eyes as a negate engine. So Moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, like I said, your generic cards that you're going to want to be playing is Striker Dragon, Dart the Dark Charmer, Heretic Seals. These are basically just in here, so you turn your Black Metal Dragon into Striker Dragon, trigger the effect, get you your Red Eyes, get you your Max MetalMorph, and then you need to get another dragon to the board. Dart the Dark Charmer, pretty straightforward, bring back from the graveyard, and then you link higher. If you have access to stuff like SP Little Knight, if you've got access to the Selene can obviously bring back the Illusion Magician from the graveyard, or the Illusionist, and then that can help you work your way up into an access code, so it can bring back the Metal Illusionist because it's a spellcaster. So you do have a couple of options if you want to go down that route. I just wanted to show you a range of cards that you could utilize. So this would obviously be your Selene and your access code, but I went with just Moon and Underworld just to be that double kind of like link absorb. Really is up to you. Then we've got the 4 targets for your Ultimate Slayer in the for the side deck. So I just think that Ultimate Slayer is a card that not a lot of people are expecting, and I think when you can resolve Ultimate Slayer in a deck that has so much flex spot in the extra deck, it really does work quite nicely. So you've got the Evil Twin for the links, you've got your Malong for your Synchro and then the bounce, you've got the XYZs with an additional negate, and then you've got the Natis with the pop. And then for the Nadir package, so for the Nadir package, you'd be playing 1 App Cologne, and I've picked up 2 of the wrong cards, so that's a great start already. You would then play either 1 Winder and 1, once I find it, one of the Construct, there we go, get there eventually in my brain, or you play 2 Winder. And the reason you play 2 Winder is that if your opponent thinks that they've got rid of the first one, you can still use Schism to banish the first Winder and then another Dark Monster, and then you get to bring out a second Winder, and you like basically double Winder lock your opponent. And then the last 3 cards are your Super Body targets, so your Garura, your Predapron Dracostapelia, and your Mud Dragon. Again, depending on the local environment, you can adapt these to other targets. So like you've got the U-Bell as a target as well. You've got the Agnista, which isn't as relevant right now, but it is an option for you. This is what I'm saying, like the extra deck is pretty irrelevant, which is why you can play Extrav, but I feel the one cards that are important for you in this build, if you're playing the Black Metal, will of course be Striker Dragon and then Spheres, and it's like you can put this to 3, but you can't put this to 3 because it's limited to 1. So you really do need to be very careful with what you're picking for your extra deck, but like I said, this is just like a mishmash of whatever you want really. There's no absolute must-haves in this, and you're basically revolving around just an insane boss monster lineup from the main deck, which is why I feel that this version is only really there for fun. Like, I wouldn't advise you taking this to a higher event. I would probably say if you want to take this to a higher event, you're probably going to have to adapt and go to that, take a different strategy up and go for something a little bit more hybrid with the Bestials and with... Like, one other card that I do quite like, actually, going off track a little bit, is Limiter Removal with these cards on the board. It's pretty funny, because then this comes a 68, and this will come a 6k, so. But yeah, I digress. The idea is that if you want to make this as competitive as possible, I feel there are probably better decks out there to do so, but I do feel that this is kind of like a really nice nostalgia feel, because it kind of like merges the battle. It's not even like a Bandit Keith deck, it's like a Bandit Keith versus Joey deck from the anime when they merged, kind of like where Joey was stealing all of Bandit Keith's cards and turn them into Red Eyes and using the Illusionist to do so. And then of course you've got the Bandit Keith Zoas and Metal Zoas. You've got Joey's Flame Swordsman, which is the new one that's been revealed. I really do hope that we get a Barrel Dragon for the deck as well. That'd be really kind of cool. And I can't wait to see what the deck can do going forward. It's definitely like a fun rogue deck. I wouldn't really say, like I said, that this is going to be like a top meta contender or anything like that. It's just something really, really fun that you can build for like $50 or less, which is crazy good. And then really catch your opponent out when you're dropping insanely powerful boss monsters on them. Like, these were like MVPs at the sneak peek event, and usually what happens is when I see cards like this, I'm like, yo, I never normally would play these, but the sneak peek, they look really fun, and then being able to put it together really, really cheaply was just something that was worthwhile, in my opinion, to have a bit of fun and try something a little bit different and something a bit new. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.